Hey guys, what's going on? This is Nick, and we're back with another edition of Money Talk 704. I'm with
Blake Nelson. Hey guys.
Nick R, how you doing?
and we have a very special guest for you today. I'd like to introduce Michael Izzard.
From the world famous Audio Box Studio in Charlotte, North Carolina.
I'd like to start the show off today by briefly talking about your childhood. So are there any stories or anything that you can tell us from your childhood? Right off the bat?
We starting off with the heavy hitting question.
None that comes to mind. I mean, coming up from a small town, I always wanted to be in a bigger city, and Charlotte was the closest one, so I managed to come up here and start working.
Definitely.
I feel that we came from a small town, Mooresville. Did you come anywhere around the Charlotte area? Because most of the time we understand whenever someone's like, "Where are you from?" We just say, "Oh, we're here in Charlotte."
Kershaw's about an hour and a half from Charlotte, so I started out doing construction when I was 21, and I used to drive up here every day, back and forth every day.
I bet it's changed a whole lot from when you were just driving up here.
Definitely.
We were talking to a guy named Justin Cagle, and he came from Mooresville, where we're from, and there's actually one of the first Whataburgers down there. And it's like almost like a historic spot in Mooresville. But are there any places like that from your hometown that kind of sit close to heart?
I guess that would be Hale Gold Mine. Hale Gold Mine is one of the biggest, mines on the East Coast. So
My grandpa came from coal mining, so I know what you're talking
Gold,
about. That is
gold.
very
Gold
mining.
Gold
Damn.
mine, yeah.
Okay.
That's a little bit better than coal.
I actually worked there for about 4 years, so.
Really? How
That's
old
crazy.
were you?
Probably 19 at the time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So
At
that
that
was
younger
right before
age,
you
yeah.
actually went into the construction industry.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right,
And to bring
100%.
it back to the childhood experiences, did you ever have a childhood experience, good or bad, that kind of made you think, I'm going to go in this direction later on in life? Did you ever have a certain experience that propelled you to kind of the music industry?
Yeah, I guess when I was 14, my dad brought me a guitar, and I basically joined the band and pretty much got kicked off the band because the bass player basically got tired of me showing him, the notes, because I could pick up the notes real quick. But they kicked me off the band. I remember walking home one night, and Stars was out and all that, just like a movie or something you would see. And I just, asked God to let me show them that I knew what I was talking about in the music business. So
What about any hobbies did you have, or any hobbies you had when you were younger?
just messing with electrical stuff. I mean, I used to always take apart anything electrical and put it back together, and so I was always good with electrical stuff. There's always some pieces left over, but I was good at taking them apart.
Now let's move on. When you said you got kicked out of the band, what steps did you take next after that to kind of ensure that you were going down the right path?
I became a DJ
Okay.
because that was the quickest way of getting into the music business, as well as getting out of the house on the weekends and things like that. So I became a DJ and got pretty good at it.
Okay, were you DJing in clubs or?
Yeah, all over South Carolina, and we got recognized by a lot of the DJs at the Big DM, which is the biggest radio station in South Carolina. And we ended up being on the first mix show in South Carolina. So when mixing first came into being, I was definitely a part of that, and we were the first on the radio to do so.
Wow,
That's a big achievement,
yeah.
honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
sick.
very big. How did you, because we're talking about steps you take after that, that was a milestone for you when you were first starting off your career, like getting noticed and picked up everybody, like, hey, they know who the hell I am. That shit's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, to hear your name on the radio every weekend, I mean, really we was working so much as far as DJing all over the state. Usually whenever,
You pick
our
up
mix show
some.
came on, that's when we were really just setting up equipment and things like that. So it took a while before we were even able to hear ourselves on the radio. We would go down on a Wednesday night and record it, and they would play it back, on the Friday
Just the
night or
small steps, yeah.
Yep.
Build up everything. It's crazy.
While you were doing all of this, who was your supporter who kept pushing you to do what you were
Anybody
doing?
keep you on the
your
right
inspiration.
I think whenever you're young, you listen to the DJs on the radio station, and they're almost like bigger than life, especially when you're in a small town and you're listening to a radio station from something. I mean, anything sounds bigger than your city, and
The voice
kind
is
of
the
picture,
reason.
yourself talking like them and, wanting to be like them and notice like them. So I guess that was inspiration, just trying to be a DJ. And I think that was one of the things that really made us stand out, because I always look at business or anything as what can I do to be better than this person. So I would look at this group, and it was one group called the UFOs, and they basically had so much equipment, it was like a band or something. So I took different parts from them, and then I would take different parts from another DJ, the way he would talk, or then another way somebody would sign on or sign off, and combine all that together, and we end up with a sound and a look that was different than anybody else, and we got noticed. And everybody kept saying, you need to do a record, and I'm saying the only thing we're doing is playing records. But I made some sense of it, talked my brother out of his $1,000 and got a drum machine, and 3 months later we had 2 recording deals, so it worked.
That's awesome.
So, what steps did you take after that to kind of continue down your journey or your path?
Well, after that, it was very noticeable to me that every time we had a deal on the table or something, the thing that got us in the door, they changed it. And every time we went to someone's studio, or every time we had a manager, they would change what really got us in the door. And I realized at that time that if I really wanted to be in control, I need to build my own studio. And I knew I couldn't afford to, so I said, well, I need to work, so let me get a first shift job doing construction. And in the meanwhile, I'll be learning how to build a studio. So that's what I did. I took 5 years of concrete, doing half the city downtown, and then I woke up one day and said, what in the hell am I doing? I need to get in interior. So the rest of the time I got into interior work, and that led me into designing and building things.
And just to bring it back a little bit, you were talking about how you were saying radio talk show people or like radio hosts were like beyond life. That's the voice you hear, and it's like, these are feeding my dreams and stuff.
Yeah.
Did you have a certain conversation that stood out from you in your early lives with a DJ that you felt like, this is it, I'm in it, like I got finally a talk like for 15 minutes with a big DJ host, this is going to be it? Do you have anything that stands out? Because I bet you probably met a whole bunch, especially when you were younger also, and trying to get your name out. Anything really stands out with you throughout any of them?
Yeah, there was one DJ named PD, and just the way he DJ, even in school people talk about, when he would come and DJ at different events, just the way he talked and the way he kind of rhymed over, instrumental beats and things like that. So, it was sort of like something to do when you're younger, you're kind of trying to mimic him. And so those type of conversations, led me into really wanting to get to know people like that, and we end up teaming up with him because he liked the way we had our setup and everything.
The hustle and
everything. They didn't want to provide the equipment, so we ended up providing the equipment for the guy that basically, we used to look up to.
That's crazy. It's got to be a good feeling, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
A lot of nights, man.
Hard work, though, but it pays off from what I'm hearing.
So, what type of advice would you get when you met with like bigger DJs and stuff like that back then? Do you remember?
I guess when I got my first record deal, I was in the car audio real heavy, and I'm not trying to get off the subject, but I was in the car audio real heavy, and I was showing my manager some of my work and some of the cars I was working on, and he suggested that I put my money in the equipment, but I didn't listen. I went ahead and continued doing car audio until I realized the record deal was pretty much, a done deal at that point. So it was that point that I started buying equipment, and I learned that as long as I had equipment, all the talent would make a beat. Be lying to my house, and so I always had people come to my house and recording people. So that's kind of how that got started as far as recording.
Okay, definitely. Well, I want to take it back just a tad when you said that you ended up teaming up with one of the DJs.
Mm-hmm.
How did that come to be? Like, did you have to talk your way in there? Did you have a manager do it for you?
Kick the door.
What it was a DJ competition, and they were the judges, and they just saw the equipment that we had, and we had everything. We had power technical stuff and all that, So we had the fire, the smoke, laser beams and all that, and keyboards. So it was just very unusual back then. We almost had a whole band, we had keyboards and everything.
Talent show set up, yeah.
So we had the whole show, and they liked the quality of the sound of the music because,
Do you think that because it was sacrifices to get all that even on the stage, because that all costs money, do you think that really helped you putting forth them nights and all that money that you could have got, like a car or something that probably would have helped you in the normal people's eyes, like all that? Do you think it really paid off that you really put your money through all that with your people, the right people around you, and you got that notice from them people?
Yeah, because whenever you decide to do something, you got to go all the way.
All the way.
That's why I don't smoke or drink, because if I was a smoker, I'd probably go all the way. I'd probably fuck that. If I was a drinker, I'd probably be, whoever. But no, I just believe that whatever I choose to do, I go all the way with it. And I want the best of everything, because I figure if they make it, why not for me?
Yeah, those great words, great words.
Yeah, how did you just come up with that advice by yourself, or did you possibly hear that in the past and it just kind of stuck with you?
No, I just realized that when you try to do something cheap, you always end up going to getting the original thing that you should have got the first time, and it's quicker just to go ahead and get the right thing in the beginning than to try to say, I'll get this for now, then later I'll get that. So
if you know what you can achieve with your hard work, just go with it throughout. Yeah. So any lows or highs, it goes with it, and you just got to work with it. That shit hit home.
Yeah, definitely. What about any mentors? Did you have any mentors around this time? No? This was all self-made and you just going through the grind, trial and error?
No, it's just that even from a child, my mind was bigger than everybody else. So, I just felt that I knew what I wanted to be, and I was going to be it. No advice at all, just basically keep the course.
That shit's crazy for me. That's how I'd be feeling most days. Like, what are these people telling me what I should do?
Yeah, 100%. What about, so after you went into interior and doing the construction with concrete and the interiors, I just said, what steps did you take after that to ensure that you were going to build a studio as well as continue with your journey of entrepreneurism?
I guess when I got into the building things, I was pretty much a handyman, and word got around to different people that, I could pretty much do this and that. And someone called me and said there was a guy from California needed a studio done, and could I do it? And so I went over there and did the studio, and it turned out so nice that it was just like,
we need more of that.
Everybody was coming to look at it, and everybody was commenting on it. But to me, it was, it was just a job. But I ended up meeting Rick Ross at that particular studio, and him and his manager wanted to move me down to Miami, and I was married at the time, so I didn't get a chance to go. I went down there, but, my wife didn't want to go, so I turned that down and just kept building. And from there, I got a call from Fantasia, and that's when she was doing her reality show, and I ended up on a reality show doing her studio, and then after that, I did both of her houses, and I'm currently working on her new house now.
Okay, that's great.
That is crazy. Yeah, that is really insane. Wow. The first deal ain't always going to be the best, even if it's Rick Ross.
But I'm still talking to E-Class about working on some of his restaurants.
Just to continue in it. Yeah, still, you had good connections throughout. You didn't end on bad terms. So
but I'm at a point now, I kind of feel like I'm a subservient if I would go with, work for somebody else.
Is it important to you that you maintain, because you built what you have, it took a lot of sacrifice and a lot of time to do that. Does it feel you need to kind of maintain a certain control over any project or anything you do? Like, you don't like someone telling you to what to do, pretty much.
Yeah, I always keep control because nobody thinks like I do. And I think that we all need to feel that way, is that, I really don't depend on nobody else. I've never been a follower. And that's one thing that, I try to instill in my kids, is that you're a leader, you're not a follower. So
good ass rule.
Yeah, I swear, I think that we've all heard that in our childhood years, but nobody ever really
gets the people who pick up on
it. No, I love myself, so I want the best, and I don't need nobody else's permission to tell me don't do this or don't do that.
Yes,
because all the advice that I would get would wait a while, or you don't need that, that's too expensive, and that's not where my head is at. I know exactly what I want, and I know exactly what it costs, and
go for it.
You just gotta have got a plan and actually put forth the work.
Exactly.
And then once you do that, you ain't gotta have nobody to tell you how to do anything.
Exactly.
Yeah. So back to meeting Rick Ross and Fantasia. Were these conversations strictly about business, or would you guys kind of hang out and talk like life or advice or anything like that?
I would say with Rick Ross, strictly business because it was right at the time when his first album came out, Port of Miami, and he was in and out of the road so much that it was
Both
basically
hungry.
just come down here and let's start on this and that's that. So most of the conversation like, can you be here tomorrow and do this right there, or come down here tomorrow and do this, or so it was just like, nah, let me go ahead and stop now. But with Fantasia, yeah, I mean, I go to Christmas dinners, Thanksgiving dinners, and things like that. So, amongst other artists too. So it's more than just a conversation about building. These people end up, being my friends.
Yeah, and building real relationships. That's
And
great.
Yeah.
I got a question. You said the first studio you actually built was down in California.
No, it was here in Charlotte for a
here in
guy
Charlotte?
who was from California. Yeah.
Oh, that's oh, my bad. I'm
No,
sorry
sir.
about that. But when you were building it, did you know, like, certainly while you were doing it, like, this is what I want to pursue, this is what I really enjoy doing while the making of it? Or was it anything after you were like, damn, this really had, like, a big impact on a lot of people. I should keep doing this because I'm good at it. Was it anything like that?
I think it gave me an opportunity to really show what I could do because there was a nice budget to do whatever I wanted to do, and he allowed me to design and build it the way I wanted to. So it came out very elaborate because there was really no stop, don't do this. I mean, it was just like, looks good, keep going.
Let loose,
So
yeah.
even when I did Fantasia, I mean, basically she was on the road doing The Color Purple, and the conversation the first day was, hey, my name is Fantasia. I'm on the road right now, but I'll be in 2 or 3 days and meet with you. And I didn't see it until like 3 months later, and then the conversation was like, I need to see a picture of what you're doing because you keep building and I don't know what it is. And I wanted it to be a surprise, and her manager got on the phone and said, we don't like surprises.
Yeah.
So I had to end up sending them a picture, so they told me to keep going, and that turned out to be fabulous too. It was a real good look.
So after you built the studio and a few houses for Fantasia, what other construction jobs or any other jobs that you had during that time, like right prior to you starting your own business? Well, you had the construction business, but I'm speaking on the music studio. Like, how long did it take until you built your own studio?
Yeah, any certain job that really propelled you?
It was probably right after Fantasia studio I realized that, you know what, this is why I got into construction, so I could build my own studio. And I was just driving on the road down South Boulevard one day, something just told me that's your studio right there. And I actually turned around, and I guess the guy who was leasing it was there, and he was showing it to somebody else, and I told him I would come back the next morning, and he ended up getting it, and still there today.
Definitely,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
I've been to the studio myself, and it's a gorgeous studio. You guys will see it later in the video. So now transitioning on to when you actually built your music studio, what process did you have to take to even get the, what's the word I'm looking for?
License.
Yeah, the licensing and
Supplies.
yeah,
and-
permits and stuff like that. Did you have to go through any process like that?
Yeah, I mean, like anything else, I mean, money was the main situation because that was right when the economy had, pretty much collapsed, and I was working, but not like I was. You went from getting 3 phone calls a day to 1 a week, and so I had to basically look for investors and whatnot. So I had to do what I had to do to keep it going.
100%,
I mean, I
I
sold all
completely
my
understand
guns
that.
and everything and everything else, and brought on some investors. And I guess probably the best thing I could give someone, or the best advice I could give someone is, it's better to save and do it yourself than to bring other people in, because your vision is your vision, and everybody's not meant to be a part of it. And you
That's the
realize
truth.
that once you go through it. But if I had a chance to do it over again, I would save and do it myself, because nobody thinks the way you do, and you can't expect them to. It's not nothing negative towards them, but
With the last podcast we had, the guy was talking about he didn't use investors, and he was like, that's something I want to kind of relapse other people. And hearing you say it too
Yeah.
really kind of clears my mind throughout the whole entire conversation I was having with it in my head. But yeah, just going, you think it'd be better without any investors, just you doing the hard work, you getting the gains, and you following through with your vision is the best way you could have implemented your plan. Is what I'm
exactly, yeah.
That's
because
strong.
investors, they want a key or they want a title, and then they want half or just as much as you get, even though you're doing all the work.
Tell you they'll give you some money, and then they'll only give you a little bit, and
Yeah,
then just
exactly.
not talk to you
Yeah,
for the
and
rest.
that's
I
the way it
understand
always
what you're
goes, so.
saying. That shit
So,
heavy, though.
when you had to save up money, were there any side hustles, or when you were looking for investors and the economy was really bad, were there any side hustles rather than just selling off some of the stuff that you had?
Keep your head on the music industry.
No, just just keep on working. There was always something to do, so I just kept working. And there were a few investors. There was one investor, a couple investors that definitely helped out a lot. And I appreciate every last one of them. Don't get me wrong, but it's just the drive have to be there. If they're not right there with you, and they're not making sure that you're okay, then
Team effort.
it has to be a team effort, and that's something hard to find. It's even hard to find labor that will work as hard as you do. So I had Mexicans that would say, Senor, can we go home now? It's very late. Because I would work, because I didn't have nothing to do but work. That was all on my mind. That's the way I've always been.
And throughout that, you say you always been that. Have you ever had a motto that you've kept throughout all the years you've been working, like something that's never left the back of your head that you're like, all right, as long as I stay true to this, which is what I know I'm doing, I'm going to be okay at the end, or something like that.
Kept your drive going.
Kept you hungry.
Basically, I always be a leader, not a follower. I can't expect them to do what I do because it's not their dream. I can't expect them to work long hours and take the last bit of money and do this or that,
Put the sacrifices that you put in. Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Now that you have the studio built up, what process or what job do you have now that it's built? Do you continue building other sites, or did you just kind of take a management role?
Not even a management role. I try not to get into management. My partner AJ does that, but I basically kind of redoing the studio because the studio's been there for 10 years now, and now we're in the process of making it look good again. It's time to do that, and as well as building. I think in all we got 2 new rooms we've done this month, so it's the process of that.
What would you say is misunderstood about the industry that you're in, or maybe the profession that you're in?
I don't think there's nothing misunderstood about it. Is what it is.
It's straightforward.
Yeah, it's just.
I got a question because for anybody who doesn't know, you build pretty much all the studios that you put your name on that has anything to tie into you. You make sure you're there and you're throughout the entire process of when it's just an idea on a piece of paper to when rappers are in there speaking their lines and everything.
Up until the part the rappers come in, as long as I build it,
You just get
AJ
where they're going to be. Do you ever have, while you're building it, where you're like, I know some magic's going to happen here. Like, I know while I'm building this, there's going to be someone here. I don't know who, but I know someone's going to be there and it's going to be something
you
spectacular.
Just get like the vibe from it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying the work that goes into that.
While building it, it's just like anybody else. All we need is one artist to take off here
and blow the roof off.
And we had that. The baby, he was at the studio for about 1.5 years, 2 years, and he's one of the #1 artists in the world. So
the baby's big deal, especially we love the baby. We love that man.
He was just there the whole weekend. He brought out the studio for the whole weekend and did a talent search, and it was great. But it's long hours.
It's hard work.
8 in the morning to 12 or 1 at night, just steady going. But that's what. That's when you really feel like you've made it. Whenever you've crossed those hurdles. #1, you want the artist to get signed out of there, so everybody know that this is a legit studio. And then whenever he blows up the way he does, and then when he continues to come there and work out of there,
that's one thing I picked up with the conversation we've had from this long is that you're not going to really do something unless you're okay with the hard work. And you're a person who's A-okay with putting in that hard work to get the results you want. And that's what some people have a really hard time grasping and stuff. But if you're watching, this man's a good man to follow.
Other question you said, is there anything about the music business that I didn't expect? It is what it is. It's a gritty, dirty business. And, you work with all types of people. And that's what you expect in the music business. So I mean,
Yeah, roll with the
don't let them
punches.
surprise you because, like I said, it's the good and the bad.
What was something you had to like give up in order to continue on with your business and continue to grow?
My wife and my girlfriend, both of them.
So, how did that come to be?
I think with my wife, I really didn't want to put her through the rigmarole of me coming in all times at night, and
Just the
basically
hard hours.
when I come home, they'll sleep. When I leave, they'll sleep or gone, and it just went on like that for 3 years. And I just realized it wasn't fair to them, and so that went that way. And girlfriends, they just think that they want to be, around you, but
Yeah, they want the center of
yeah.
attention. That's what
But
they
this
want.
is not, this is not nothing for a relationship. I mean, to be in the
Work.
music business, I mean, it's not easy and it ain't necessary to me. I mean, I'm okay.
So,
definitely.
what inspiration or like drive, like during these hard times, like what kept you going?
Just knowing that I'm okay. I'm right where I want to be, and I'm happy with myself.
And you're a man who does hard work, and we see, of course, that your hard work pays off. Is there a story that you have that you just kind of it sits well in your heart, where you've worked hard and it paid off well? And it could be after, before you've went through some losses or wins, it doesn't matter. But just something that you can remember, and it's like, hey, this paid off. This was something that I know I worked hard for, and at the end of the day, I'm very happy with it. Do you have anything that just sits with you all the time like that?
Yeah, I knew God was there with me all the time. I mean, I didn't know what it was going to look like in the end, but when people come in there and they say, they give me all types of accolades, I have to give it to God because I didn't know it was going to look like that. I mean, I knew it was going to be nice, but I didn't know how nice. But it's the atmosphere that I think people always comment on. Everybody always says something about the atmosphere.
Yeah, there's a vibe.
Yeah, and I think like I said, I know that it's God because He gave me everything I prayed for.
Amen.
So, do you have any great stories or like a great story from creating your business or something that happened inside of the music studio or maybe even outside a connection you made?
No comment.
You got a couple. You just
He's stashing
got
them from us, I
cameras.
promise.
Too hot for TV.
What about examples where you've gone through trial and error?
Just trying to work with different partners, and that's something that is not as easy as people think it is. I mean, the music business is something that even if you were brothers and you're trying to do something, there's a pretty good chance, there's more than a 50-50 chance that you won't even make it. One of you won't make it. And that's how the music business is, that tough. Whether you're in a group or whatever, everybody's not going to have that same drive, and one of you are going to shine brighter than the other.
Yeah, they will probably get mad over that too, which is what's sad. But back with the trial and error thing, whenever you did really sacrifice something and it didn't work out for you in a way, if you can, could you tell us something where you really put a lot into and it didn't work out? But if not, could you say how you got over that? How you were like, I'm not going to let this defeat be me. I'm going to get over that and continue striving and continue to work hard.
I just always look at things like they're a test. In life, I think God put us through tests to make us stronger, and everything that went wrong, later God showed me why it didn't go right. Just like as far as business partners or, people you wanted to be a part of what you were building. I mean, I'm just like everybody else, I wouldn't mind having my best friend a part of it, or, this person looked like they could bring this to the table, and everything that didn't work out right later in life, God showed me why they didn't work out right and why they wasn't supposed to be a part of what I was doing.
We'll be right back. This is a commercial for the world famous Audio Box Studios.
maintaining like where you're at in the music business as well as trying to expand at the same time?
Well, I mean, my focus right now is to get my name noticed because I have spent all these years developing a brand, and I pretty much got that brand down back now. So my job now is to expand and get the music to the artists and give them the best product.
100%. And that's a really good mindset to have on that. If you were to restart your whole music career, was there anything that you would probably do differently? Maybe to give yourself a head start or?
No, I wouldn't, because I believe in destiny, and you can't change destiny. So I just roll with the punches, and whatever comes along, I ride with it because I know it's supposed to happen, man. So, and here I am. And never give up on your dream, no matter how old you are, or no matter what your walk of life. Don't ever stop pursuing your dreams. That's it. That's solid.
10-year business while trying to expand it at the same time?
Management. When you have management, they take care of that. And when I say management, AJ is my partner as well as he manages. And just like I'm his partner, and I develop and I advertise and everything. So I'm more on the advertisement side and meeting and greeting and having deals and stuff with people. So I kind of do more of that, and he kind of do more of just running the day-to-day work. So
I want to hit on a few obstacles that you may have faced. How did you overcome any of those obstacles?
I understood that it was just temporary, and there's going to be tests in life, and not to sweat it. I mean, I talked to a lot of people, and one of the advices they gave me is that don't sweat the little things in life. Mm-hmm. It's never as big as you think it is.
I can completely understand that. I'm sure everybody's been faced with a problem or something that's way, 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 way smaller than they actually think that it is.
With you working all the time and putting in all the hours, how do you like to enjoy your downtime?
Probably just watching TV. I love to watch TV. I mean, I don't get a chance to watch much. When I built my office at the studio, I put 5 monitors up there so I could watch 5 different things at one time, and never watched TV there yet. In the last 10 years, I've never really sat down at the desk and watched TV.
Shit, I got some shows that you need to watch because I'm a big TV movie guy. But without the pastime and all that, back to the Eric Thompson question that we covered before. The beginning of his journey started with the vision of where he wanted to go. Did you have a vision when you first started out of how you wanted to end up and just kind of how you thought your career would go?
Pretty much the way it has. I mean, I knew I was going to be in this spot, and that's why it didn't matter what I went through, because what I had to beg, borrow, steal, I knew I was going to end up,
You know where you were at in the finish line, yeah. How many times have you gone for it and failed? How many times do you feel like you put everything in it and it just didn't come out how you wanted it to?
I mean, most of the time it never comes out the way you want it to. Mm-hmm. You just have to be patient and go through the process. And when I say go through the process, is you learn from all the mistakes and all the, the periods where things slow down. Nothing seemed to be going right. It's just a part of life. I don't look at it like it has to go right every time. I mean, I used to bang my hand on something or try to screw something in for, minutes and minutes at a time or whatever. And the solution was always the same. We have to go through it so we can learn how to do it.
Damn right. That's a
great response.
answer.
Great response. How has emotion affected your business, and how have you overcome those emotions?
My emotions don't affect my business. I try to keep a level head, and like I say, just remember that if you have faith, if it doesn't work out, then it's for a reason, and most of the time God will let you know what that reason was. It may not be today, but one day you'll look back and say, the reason that all these people are not in my life because they're not supposed to be. And what looked like failure at the time, now I look back on like, man, God was saving me from just that or the other.
Yep. So is there something, if you had to restart your business or businesses, is there something you would do differently?
No more than try to save and do it myself. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I appreciate all the people who, did what they did. But at the same time, I mean, everybody has their own, objectives, I guess you want to call it, or personal reasons what they're trying to do. You could get an investor, and the next day you've got 5 or 6 cousins and friends and everything else coming to the studio. So I've been through times like that. You bring on one person, and the next thing you've got cousins dropping by, friends dropping by, and so it kind of goes to hell real quick, like so.
What do you think the common reason is why people fail or don't follow their dreams?
I think because they follow other people's dreams. I think if you really true about what you want, then you'll get it no matter what. Asking people for advice is just like bringing something else into the situation that doesn't have to be there. It's unnecessary. It doesn't matter what they think, or if they thought better than you did, then they would be doing it. But the fear of them failing keeps them from going out on the limb. I'm out on the limb all the time, and I live there.
Get comfortable with it.
Yeah.
If you won the lottery and became a millionaire, is there anything you would change about your life, and why?
Definitely travel, simply for the fact that, that's what it's all about, is going out and seeing the world. When you go to different countries and you experience different, climates and just different people, it makes you feel, it humbles me, because to see people that have less than we have and are 100% satisfied, that's something that you can't really experience unless you go there and see people with less than you have and are just as happy as you are.
It makes you appreciate what you have as well.
Sure, it sure does.
So for just anybody listening that's really wanting to pursue anything in the music career, or just in the construction or entrepreneur career where they're building their own thing, do you have anything that you could pass on to them just to kind of help them keep going through their low days?
Yeah, I think that you can't ask somebody who's never been in business about business, because they don't know the sacrifices and the obstacles that you're going to go through. So it's hard to ask somebody something if they've never been through it.
Yeah, it's true.
And speaking on something that people have never been through, are there any mentors from your past where they kind of told you what to expect up ahead?
No.
Definitely.
None that I can remember.
Alrighty. What about any advice? Was there any advice that kind of just stuck around for a very long time?
I'm always asking people about advice, because I think that that's where wisdom comes from, is to be able to tap into the future and figure out what's coming around the corner. I'm always asking people for advice. I work for a little bit of everybody, and one of the things I always do is ask them if they had any life lessons or any knowledge that they would tell somebody about life, what would it be? And normally they always give you some jewels to go on, and I think that that's something that really stuck with me. There was one woman that I asked her, if she had to give someone some advice, what would it be? And she said, choose your battles carefully. And I said, define what you mean by choose your battles carefully. And she said, well, I was married once, and I was the type of person I never could keep my mouth shut. I always had to have the last word. And now somebody else has got a good-ass husband. I'm sitting here with the cats. That's what I mean about choose your battles carefully. If I would have not tried to win all the battles, I still would have had a good husband. And that stuck with me, and it's a life lesson. There's plenty of lessons out there that people can tell you. You just have to ask, and people are more than happy to give you advice in general.
Yeah, that's what we like to hear. I also wanted to talk about maybe any experiences you had kind of dealing with rappers or anybody in the music industry.
I think that, when you're dealing with rappers, you're dealing with, it's almost like dealing with, I don't know. Most rappers feel like, they're already on. They just need your help or your money or your studio or your push, and it's almost impossible to help everybody. 80% of the people that I hear are pretty good. No kidding. There's a lot of good people that can sing and rap. So it's hard to kind of just pick one particular person to get behind and push, because,
You never know.
It's a roll of the dice.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. I want to thank Michael Izzard again for having a wonderful conversation with us. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Peace out. Bye, guys.